Hello everyone and welcome back. This afternoon we're going to take a look here at one of Jackery's home backup solutions. This is the Jackery 2000 version 2 solar generator. And if the sun ever comes out, it's been a misty, rotten day. It was really foggy this morning. We're going to pair that up with the Solar Saga 2 200 watt Jackery solar panel, and we'll get the whole solar generator thing going. We're going to get this out of the box. We're going to go through or over all the boring specs that that have to be gone through, and then we're going to get to the fun part. When I bring this up to the tent, we're going to plug this into the tent and run it, and we'll be able to see, how it does, how many hours it'll run it, and see how many watts that stuff draws up there. Fresh out of the box. One thing I really like, they have this foldable handle, easy to carry around. I've said in other videos the handle means a lot to me, what kind it has. You got to be able to hold it, be able to walk up to a door, no matter what it weighs, holding onto it, put it against your leg and be able to open the doorknob to get in and out without setting it on the ground. Especially if it's snowy out or if it's rainy or muddy on the ground. To me, this means a big deal. So I enjoy this handle. Looking at the main working part here of the Jackery 2000 version 2 solar generator, we've got the 3 grid power or AC right here, and of course this has the pure sine wave inverter in it. You've got your AC off and on, your DC off and on. You've got a USB-A 18 watt, a USB-C 100 watt, and a USB-C 30 watt. You've got your regular cigarette lighter port up here for power. You've got your power on button, and you've got the light. Looking on the right side of the Jackery 2000 version 2 solar generator, we have our AC input for charging. You've got your DC inputs for solar panel and I imagine car charging. We'll take a look at the specs coming up here soon. And that's about it. Simple, straightforward, has everything you need. Comes with the user manual, a cord for charging, and we'll open up that solar panel. That's usually where the solar panel cable is. Yeah, nice little battery here, and over 2,000 watt hours, so you're going to be able to get some stuff done. Well, now that we've taken a look at the actual unit, the cord, we still have to look at the solar panel. I just want to go through a couple of things that I need to do and get this part over with so that I'm done here and we can bring that thing up to the tent, plug it in, see how it works, and do all that fun stuff with it. That's the part I really enjoy about the battery videos. Not so much going over all the specs. I like when we get to plug them in and see what they do, and I can tell that this is one that I'm going to use because it's got the easy handle, it's got enough watt hours to do things, light enough to throw it in your vehicle or wherever you're doing. You see me do projects where I'm using a battery to do it, and it's not too heavy and it's not too lightweight in many ways, for plugging stuff in and everything. It'll get the job done. So, introducing the Jackery 2000 version 2 generator, your effortless solution for home power stability featuring ups. Oh, this one has ups, which is nice. Then you can, I don't need it yet, but I say it every time. If you have a CPAP or whatever, you can plug it in, or even just for home battery backup. You have a light on in your living room or something, a lamp, you keep that thing plugged in. You can always have it charged, have the light plugged in, or even on your nightstand, and if the power goes out, immediately within, I don't know what this one is, 20 milliseconds, whatever it is, the light just barely even flickers and it stays on. So for some people that's a must, and this has that feature, so that's nice. UPS technology for seamless plug-and-play home emergency energy with the slogan instant power, no installation. This generator is designed to replace traditional fuel-powered generators, aligning with Jackery's mission of promoting green and sustainable living. The Jackery 2000 version 2 not only prioritizes eco-friendliness but also enhances safety, ensuring users have a reliable and safe power source during outages. Unlike fuel generators, it offers a cleaner, quieter, and more user-friendly experience, giving you peace of mind by keeping your home powered safely and sustainably during critical moments. You know, it's with all of the stuff going on in the world right now, and the weather changes and everything, how, like, look at North Carolina, was it? So in the mountains there where they had all that flooding. I mean, they are still, it's a disaster area if you guys have watched some of the videos. And this is happening all over the world. This just is closer to home, so, you know, we saw a lot of it. We even had flooding here in Minnesota earlier this year, but it was not like that. Those people, some of them were stuck on that mountain for days on end. Even if you had a generator, how much gas would you have? Like, I have the generator here, you know, that we run the house on when the power goes out for multiple days. And but you don't keep that much gas on hand. I mean, you wouldn't in the summer months. I mean, the summer months I use the fuel for the gas, for the tractor, the lawnmower, and I don't even think really about the generator. So, and you hear some of those horror stories from them people. I mean, even, like I said, even if they had a generator, they couldn't get anywhere to get fuel for it, so you'd have that running for a little bit. If you had a Jackery solar type power station like this, at least you could use the sun to charge it up. So maybe you only get 6 or 8 hours of it, depending on what you're running. Maybe you're getting 20 hours. It depends on what you're running. But at least then you could like run it overnight, and then during the day get the sun to charge it, and then you'd have more hours to use it that night. I think that these things are getting to be more and more of something that a person needs to have in their house versus what it was even 5 years ago when it was something that you wanted to have in your house. That's just how I feel about it. It's just like, Melissa and I will talk all the time about how she just can't believe all this stuff is happening, you know, and it's like right before our eyes. And that's when you really think that having something like this would be really nice. Choosing the Jackery 2000 version 2 is a step towards safer, greener future, reflecting our commitment to sustainability and putting safety first. It's more than just a generator, it's a testament to Jackery's dedication to protecting both the environment and its user, providing a better alternative to traditional power sources. Embrace safety, sustainability, and convenience with the Jackery 2000 version 2 solar generator. Well, for me, reading that part was the hardest part of this whole video. Everything else is pretty easy. So like I said, it has 2,042 watt hours capacity, which supports short-term power supply for disaster preparedness, 2,200 watt output power, suitable for large household appliances such as refrigerators, microwave, coffee maker, 2-hour solar charging speed, foldable handle, I like that handle, low temperature resistance, quiet charging, 20 millisecond ups, so that's pretty quick. So it weighs 18 kilograms, 39.683 pounds. It's not too bad for 2,000, little over 2,000 watt hours. That's not bad at all, really. And with, like I was saying, it has low temperature resistance. That's with a protective cover. I just throw these things out and they seem to work no matter what. But anyway, down to, I believe, yeah, eventually I'm going to actually learn Celsius doing these videos. -4 degrees Fahrenheit, or -20 Celsius. So you can have it going below zero. That's pretty darn good, because most of them are like, you don't drop them below freezing. I'm just going to go through the technical specs here to see if there's anything that I want to tell you, and then in 3 days we're going to bring it up to the 10. Product name, Jackery Explorer 2000. It's got the LifePo 4 battery. The battery will run about 4,000 cycles. The AC output is just about 2,200 watts. It does have a 4,400 watt surge peak, which is nice. I mean, so then when something starts up, it surges and can grab it without blowing the reset button thing on it. Oh, I forgot, yeah. This has an app, so I guess we'll turn it on here and check out the app. Oh, this one has the emergency charging mode. I can't remember what it took before. Like when you do the emergency, it charges it a lot faster. It pulls a lot more from the grid, but it charges a lot faster. Looks like you can run 4 200-watt solar panels on here. All right, power. Comes at us 29% charged. It's got the light. Huh, that takes 1 watt. 2 watts. That is so bright. 1 watt. All right, this plugged in. Just heard it click on. Oh, she's charging it up right now to 1,161. 1.5 hours. There's a look. It's like a suitcase style solar panel. As you see it here, of course this is the back side and it's upside down, but it has these 2 of these, so when you put it at the angle, you know, you can adjust it however to get the most amount of sun. They're a nice solar panel. They really are. And of course, we've got the cord. This plugs into the battery. This plugs into your solar panel. And once again, which I thought was cool when I saw this the first time, you can plug in a USB or your C or A, whatever, and charge right here prior to getting to the battery, just off the solar panel. I just think that's the neatest thing. I still do. Alright guys, well that's all I'm going to do right now. I think I would like to say until I get to the tent, but if the sun comes out in the next couple of days prior to going up to the tent, I will bring this out, plug it in to the solar panel so we can see how that works. Well, it's a couple of days later. The sun finally came out today. I plugged one of my box fans, bigger one, into the Jackery 2000 version 2 and let it run on my one of the piles of oak that I brought into the workshop because the wood was so wet, and ran the battery down to nothing. So I'd have somewhere to charge it from. Looks like we're putting in 168, 169 watts right now. Using the Solar Saga 200 watt solar panel. I'm just going to let that sit here and charge. Tomorrow morning we'll be throwing this in the truck and heading up to the tent. Okay everyone, well the Jackery 2000 version 2 officially made it up to the tent this morning. Had a whole bunch of stuff to do today. Now it's in the evening and we are going to plug the tent into the 2000 version 2 and see how it runs it. You hear that? There's a squirrel or a pine marten, one of the two, crawling around on the roof of the tent. Anyway, we're going to plug this in to see how it does, and then I have a freezer up here that I never use because, I mean, years ago I would use it once in a while, but it pulls so much power. I've got the whole tent here set up on 20 amps, and that's all I run. So when we have everything turned on like this, the refrigerator, TV, DVD, lights, and everything, and then you pop on the microwave, everything just dims, you know. So I'll kill some of the lights and when I do the microwave. And I do think that the microwave is getting old, which I talked about in a previous video, but that's beside the point. So I don't run that freezer because when the freezer kicks on, it uses quite a bit of power. And I am going to plug it into the Jackery 2000 version 2 and let that run it for a little bit just to see how much, you know, how many watts of that draws. Well, I have the power running into the tent, into the bedroom here. And originally there was no bedroom on this, and it just came through the back wall. And then I built this addition like on the tent, or off of the tent, whatever you want to call it, because we needed more space. But I just have it come in on a cord, because originally the tent was set up to be completely off-grid, which I'll show you in a second. And then we ran it on a generator for the first 7 years before grid power. I had that brought in here. So I just have a little 3-foot power, you know, plug-in that sticks up out of the ground from the power, and then from there I run a cord in here. And just like I said, it's just a cord that comes in here, and with the power that I ran before, I just have plug-ins on it that plugs into that 3-way right there, and that runs everything in the tent. When I originally set up the tent, and people will ask in my videos, why do you call it a tent? Because it is an actual 16 by 20 canvas wall tent, and then I built walls on the inside of it and put 4-inch foam in there. You know, walls have 4-inch foam under the floor, and I've got the panels up here too. So I mean, it's like a house for heating. The wood stove heats it if it's 30 below zero. It might take a day or so to get everything thawed out, but I mean, it's really comfortable. Right now it is 76 degrees in here, 40 degrees outside. But anyway, when I set it up, our winters are harsh here sometimes. And I mean, there are times I come up here and you are walking down to the front step on the porch because the snow is so deep. Well, I ran it on generator for the first 7 years. But when we did this, I did it all so it could be completely off-grid. No generator, no power, nothing. Because first of all, I'm kind of a prepper nut that way, like, you know, the what if, and I want to be able to be completely self-sufficient up here. Second of all, when you come in with that much snow, the generator would be here, and you know, before the snow would fall, right now during deer camp and everything, I would bring up all kinds of fuel for when I would come up here in the winter trips, and I used to do more than just one winter trip back then. And what if the generator didn't start? It's a 3/4 mile walk, snowshoe across the lake. There's no way to drive in here. If you were to walk out on the road, if you want to call it, the logging trail, whatever that comes in here, you're talking at least 2 miles, where I can go 3/4 of a mile across the lake. And that's how I get in the wintertime. That's how I still get in the wintertime. And if the generator didn't start, well then you're up here and you have all the stuff you pulled in on a sled, and what are you going to do? You're only here for the, you know, the daylight hours. So I have things like, I've got 2 20-pound gas cylinders underneath here, and I've got a cook stove here that's also an oven that runs on propane. I've got this propane lantern right there that will run off of one of those 20-pound tanks. I've got another propane lantern there that runs just on a 1-pound cylinder. I could hook it up to a long line, but I don't, because I like to take that one out by the campfire sometimes when we're cooking. And then I've got spots in here where I hang lanterns, because there's plenty of times up here. This is far enough north where you might come up here and the power might be out for hours, you know. So, but back then, we did not have a Jackery 2000 version 2, you know, one of these power stations. I mean, when I set this up, it was in 2007. And this is like a magical piece of machinery compared to back then. It's just like my generator is a 3000 generator, and to carry something like this that's under 40 pounds in here that can run the tent all by itself would have just been a game changer. You know, I would not have, you know, really ran the gas lights and everything. I would have just had something like this. But the reason I wanted to do this up here is because of the way I have the power set up. You know, it's rare that, you know, if you're testing stuff at your house, you can't just unplug the house and plug it into here. The way I've got the tent set up, I like to do is plug it into one of these, you know, and it's running the whole thing. And I mean, we have refrigerator, microwave, coffee maker, lights. I have electric heater in the bedroom, just a little 1500 watt one, fans, everything. So it's got everything pretty much that a house has, and it's easy for me to see how it does just by plugging into one of the plug-in outlets. So that's exactly what we're going to do. I just heard the refrigerator kick on out there, so we're going to plug the tent in and see if it blows the safety on it or not. It's going to get dark in here for a second, so I have to be able to see what I'm doing. So, all you have is turn the AC on. There we go. Now, we're going to just plug it in. $949 watts it's pulling right now. Something just kicked out. Oh, I have the outside, a refrigerator plugged in outside also, and it's turned all the way to cold. Because that will kind of turn into a freezer for me for a few things, but it's not that bigger, small freezer that I have up here. So right now, like this, with everything on, it'll run the tent for 5.5 hours. But normally when I'm up here, I don't have the outside light out in the front. I do have my computer, which is on right now. It usually sits there, but I needed to put the battery there. So I don't have the outside light on. I don't have the backlights on. I don't have the bedroom light on. The refrigerator I just let run. The bathroom, I have that plugged in, which is just your standard up north outhouse. But I've got the light on the outside. And inside here I've got a radio going. And then we've got those three lights, which are not LED. I should switch them out. It's just that everything's been up here for so many years. They didn't even really do LED lights back then unless you got them swirly looking ones. So this thing itself pulls right around 200 watts. I guess my radio isn't really in tune. So the only reason I'm showing that is you can see everywhere that's pulling power. So we have this light off now. I usually, if I'm sitting here, I do not have the center light on because it's not needed. So we're good there. I do keep that little light that's above the oven on, which is right here, and I see that this stopped because I had it paused. So there's no TV reception up here at all. I've tried antennas that would do, you know, 200-mile range. The world is not flat, so you can't get it. Anyway, I'm just going to turn this back on so that both the DVD and the TV are on. I have the bathroom light on right now, which I would not have that on. We don't need the outside light on there. Like I said, this light wouldn't be on because everything is out here until bedtime, then you come in here. And like I said, this light wouldn't be on. Now we're using 277 watts. It's going to run it for 6.4 hours. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out and I'm going to, well, that's right, I've got that refrigerator going outside and I have to keep that going. So we're just going down to the minimum. I'm going to go outside right now and unplug the outhouse. Well, I'm not sure how good you can see that, but outhouse is unplugged, but I've got that refrigerator outside going, and of course the refrigerator in here, I don't know what's clicked on and what's clicked off, but now we're only down to 161 watts. That's computer, 3 lights in the main area of the tent, DVD, and the TV. And now it's going to go, it'll do 10.1 hours. One thing you do learn when you've got a battery power station like that is you learn about power. Just like I'm saying, how much everything takes. Like right now, I'll plug in the coffee maker. Okay, shut it off. Right now I've got this light on again, so right now we're doing 247 watts. So something kicked on or off or whatever. Turn on this coffee maker. You know what's weird? When I have it plugged into grid power and I've got everything on and I turn this on, the lights dim for a second. With the Jackery 2000 version 2, they didn't even flicker. But now we're pulling 889, 887 watts, and it's going to only run the tent for 2.1 hours. I have that outside light on also. So, what you learn, like I said about power, is maybe instead of making your coffee in the coffee maker when you've got a battery system like that, it would be smarter to use a regular coffee pot percolator like this. Put it on the wood stove. I cook on the wood stove. I can make coffee on the wood stove. Or if you're in a hurry, do it over here on the propane stove. I mean, that's, real quick. And save your battery for things that you really need, like refrigerator or freezer or just the main lights, just to keep, nowadays it's getting dark. Now the daylight savings time is here. At 5 o'clock it's starting to get dark outside. So you need the lights or you're going to bed pretty darn early. I can hear the refrigerator just kicked back on. And it's pulling 264, 262. It's running the tent for 6.8 hours. Turn off the bedroom light. Now we're running it for 7 hours. 7.1. One light bulb gives you that much more time. Let me shut off this back outside light. How much did we gain there? 7.4, 7.5 hours, 7.6. Or if the power goes out but you really are in dire need of keeping the heavier appliances going, so if you really want to save power, I can switch over to off-grid, still keep my refrigerator going, the outside refrigerator going, watch a movie, and with my hotspot on my phone, I can sit here and, be online with my laptop, and we're only using... I'm only pulling 96 to 100 watts right now. It'll run it for 14.3 hours. Well, now I plugged everything back into the grid, but I'm just trying to show you that the Jackery 2000 version 2, with 2,042 watt hours and 2,200 watts, it's a big enough battery to run your bigger appliances. So in a survival or a disaster or, whatever, floods, whatever situation, you have that backup power to run stuff and you're just not left in the dark. you know, your stuff in your refrigerator is not going to go bad because you had this unit to plug it into, and you've got a lot of hours that you can run it. Well, this is that freezer that I keep up here that I was telling you about. I mean, it's only, you know, a half-size freezer, but I mean, it's pretty deep. It holds a lot of stuff, and if I have a bunch of people up here, which has been a while since the kids are all grown up now, but we would use this quite a bit, I just never use it right now because I don't want to drain that power. I've got this plugged in, turn on the AC. She kicked on. $633 watts. I had to stop there for a minute. The freezer shut off. I think it's because it's just starting up. So it started up, then it shut back down. Now it turned back on slower. I don't really know what else to show. Like I said, we have a unique opportunity up here to plug it in to the whole entire system, and you can see how it works with different appliances. I'll leave it on the freezer. That's weird. It started up, it jumped up into the 600 watts, then it went down to 0, and then the freezer kicked back on, and I just checked it again now, and it was running at 75 watts. So I'm going to let that go for a while. I haven't run that freezer in a long time, but when I bought it, it was brand new. So I don't think I have more than 100 or 200 hours that freezer has ran. And it'll be good to run it for a while. But anyway, we'll check in a little bit, see how that freezer's doing, and that'll just about wrap this one up. Okay everyone, well thanks a lot for watching. It's obviously the next day. I have left that Jackery 2000 version 2 running that freezer all night long, so now it has been almost 14 hours that it's been running it. Let's see where we're at here. 41%, and it still has 8 hours that it'll run it. And it is ice cold in there. And now we know it'll run the big things, it'll run the little things. It's just a nice little piece of machinery. I'll leave the links to everything in the description. They're running some specials right now, so you can get a pretty good deal. I will see you guys on the next video.